and I quote, "I'll be there in a minute. Give me a second."
Time is relative, folks. Time is relative.
Yes. So, hey, cheers to everybody in the chat.
They're a division rival. I don't care how many wins they get. Screw them.
That wasn't the take I was expecting to hear.
I want to gush over watching live Chris Tanev.
I think that we completely underestimate the skill it takes to play defense.
One highlight or several highlights does not a Calder trophy make.
I'm stepping in here. I'm going to be the crotchety old man here. They need to learn patience. They need to understand the tension, everything, and the drama.
How dare! Look at this. How is McDavid not getting a penalty?
You guys need to calm down with this, okay? You guys need to calm down with it.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Shifts and Pucks News Pack live here for Wednesday, November the 9th. You can follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com, Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com, Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com, Shifts and Pucks. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network, as we do the news pack on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, and then we have an audio version shortly after that. We'll get into the Flames. We'll get into the Canucks. We'll hear as the Canucks are playing tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. It is a Crosby versus Ovechkin night. That's the Penguins take on the Capitals. And as well, we will touch on the coaching staff for the World Juniors was named today. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. And a very significant and a scary injury involving an Edmonton Oiler we'll get into in a little bit as well. But I wanted to start with, of course, the big news in hockey in the weekend here was been the Mitchell Miller signing with the Boston Bruins and the fiasco that was. There's been a lot of, and I'm just going to use this word for this he said coming out, but we haven't really had a chance to hear from the person that Miller bullied, abused, whatever word that you choose to use. We haven't heard from him yet, but he had an opportunity to speak. He released a statement to the Hockey Diversity Alliance, and about how Mitchell Miller has been reaching out to him, and this is going to be a bit disturbing, but necessarily kind of what has been said here. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we'll get into the highlights of here. He starts by saying, "I am Isaiah Meyer Crothers. I would like to make a statement. I have been bullied since I was in first grade. There were not many black kids at school. He was called names, including the N-word. And then we'll just jump to the middle of October here. You can read I did retweet it out. It is on the Hockey Diversity Alliance Twitter site here as well. Middle of October, I was being texted constantly until I answered a Snapchat and IG message from Mitchell Miller. He asked me why I always have my parents doing stuff for me and why I can't speak for myself. I told him I don't care what my parents say. I'm old enough to speak for myself. He told me he was sorry. This is Isaiah saying, Mitchell told me he was sorry and that the apology didn't involve hockey. He told me he was doing stuff in the community, helping the youth, and wanted to be my friend. I told him that's all cool, but where is the proof? He didn't give me any. All the lies I have been told for so many years, I don't believe what Mitchell told me. He kept asking to be his friend and that he's changed over the years. I told him I'm just not going to be your friend after what you've done to me. And he ends it, Mitchell isn't my friend. It hurts my heart what he did to me. So I just want to tell everyone, when Mitchell says we're friends, it isn't true. I can't take any more of this. I just feel for this kid. I feel for Isaiah. I feel that he's been dragged through this situation, again, having to relive what he's been through since he was since grade 1. And I think, the Bruins what a mess the Bruins made this situation. They have to rectify and figure that out. But and then shame on Mitchell Miller, but shame on the people, the adults involved in Mitchell Miller's life that are allowing and encouraging this sort of behavior for him to get back into hockey. This looks like and sounds like a situation where he is manipulating. We are being manipulated because, according to a couple of insiders, a number of insiders, teams were interested in him, and it's because they reached out to teams to try to get play that second chance card. And the adults in his life have some culpability in this to allow Mitchell to play, essentially re-harass Isaiah to get back into the NHL, is disgusting. Shame on the agent, shame on all of the people that have been involved in Mitchell Miller's life. He needs to do the work. If this is about a second chance, he needs to do the work. And that work that he has to do is going to take a lot of time. Not simply being a great defenseman. This is a mess. It's been an absolute disaster. And that's where we're at with that there as well. So that's just wanted to touch on that, and we'll get into the games tonight. We got we'll start with last night when since the Canucks are playing tonight, we'll start with the Canucks. Last night, 6-4 win over the Ottawa Senators. It was a hockey game. The Canucks play with some chaos, don't they? A lot of talent offensively, a lot of firepower offensively, defensively. Still continues to be issues. So, but hey, a win is a win. They win tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. They are in a playoff spot at this point. So, I mean, you can, if you're a naysayer tanker, you're not happy. If you're not, you're probably you're not happy. But if others will be happy. I mean, getting into the playoffs is getting into the playoffs, I guess. Spencer Martin has yet to lose in regulation under Bruce Boudreau. And give the Canucks credit for this one. This was a game they play. Was it chaos? Yes. Are they playing for Bruce Boudreau? I think you can say that this isn't a team that is lacking effort in any way. There's other issues going on, but Bo Horvat playing great. Ilya Mikheyev, I think, is playing really well. Their forwards are playing well. First shot on goal, Drake Batherson scores. They score in the first minute. They score in the last minute when Travis Hamonic scores. 2-2. But, Jack Studnicka gets his first goal. Bo Horvat gets his 12th. The Senators get within 1-1. Claude Giroux scores. Tim Stützle scores as well for Ottawa in the third, and there. And then Pettersson knocks in the empty netter. It's a wild game. Canucks win, take the 2 points and run. And it's kind of an interesting little drama going on here in Vancouver. How can you not have drama? You've got Jim Rutherford, Patrick Allvin sort of saying these things about Bruce Boudreau, and Boudreau is just basically saying, to hell with it, I'm going to coach the way that I know how to coach. And the players are responding to Bruce Boudreau. I don't think that this has ever been an effort issue. This is not an effort issue. This is a number of other issues, effort not one of them. So they'll get back tonight. They play the Montreal Canadiens. Thatcher Demko will get the call and goal. We know he's been struggling, but we also know the quality goaltender that Thatcher Demko is, so he will get back there. As for the Canadiens, of course, they also played last night. They will be without Yuri Slafkovsky. He's been suspended 2 games for his hit on Matt Luff last night. Luff is going to miss about 12 some time with that injury, 10 to 12 weeks. Not a good. That was a dirty hit, in my opinion. Slafkovsky deserved the suspension. We're not going to see him tonight. So that's what's going on in terms of that. And the Canadiens come in to this game sitting in second last in the Atlantic behind the sixth straight loss Ottawa Senators. We'll talk about the Senators here. We'll touch on the Senators here in a moment. But they beat Detroit last night. They're looking for 2 straight wins. And terms of who's leading the team in points, you've got, of course, just looking here at the Montreal Canadiens, yet Nick Suzuki leading the way with 15. Cole Caulfield has 14. Kirby Dach, 10 points. Sean Monahan has 6 points as well. Defense, of course, your Kaden Gooley, you got to watch. She's played really well. Arbor Xhekaj as well. 31 penalty minutes. He's probably a guy that if things get a little bit, if there needs to be a fight, would imagine that Arbor Xhekaj will be in there as well. Canadians are a team in the transition. Some say they're in the Bedard Bowl. Some say they're just too good to be in the Bedard Bowl. They're in a rebuilding mode. We know that. It's one of those games that the Canadians or the Canucks can come away with the 2 points. They're in the playoffs. See where they are at. But it's the Canadians Canucks tonight in Montreal, and then the Canucks continue that road trip this week. Saturday, Toronto, Sunday, Boston. By the way, just before I touch on Ottawa, podcast tomorrow night, post after Bruins and Flames. We'll touch on the Flames here quick in a moment. And then Sunday morning, we will be gathering as well for the lengthy Everybody Together podcast. As for the Ottawa Senators, DJ Smith met with his leadership group today, and they put Hellberg and Nikita Zaitsev on waivers. Senators are not where I don't think the Senators are where anyone wants them to be at this particular point. There was 6 straight loss last night. Jacob Bernard-Docker played last night. Blue line on forwards. There's a strong forward group in Ottawa, similar to Vancouver. They've got some work to do on the blue line. You've got a pretty elite defenseman in Thomas Chabot. You don't have much else working around them. And this team is struggling here, and have to figure that out. Figure out what's going on in Ottawa. Pierre Dorian said that DJ Smith is safe. There's a lot of moving parts right now in Ottawa, including, of course, Ryan Reynolds made the appearance. Of course, there's reports he's interested in here. He's confirmed his interest in owning the Ottawa Senators, but he needs what he called a sugar daddy or a sugar mama to help him out. He made an appearance there. The Senators are for sale. You've got an arena situation in Ottawa, and you got quite frankly, a fan base that has been waiting a really long time for a successful franchise in Ottawa, so they're dying for that. I mean, I know that Ottawa gets probably some of the least amount of attention in the Canadian market, but I think that there's a little bit of pressure for success in Ottawa. Probably a lot more than I think people outside of Ottawa would suspect. So, going to see there. I don't think that a 6-game losing streak is sitting well in Ottawa. And a 6-game losing streak is not sitting well in Calgary. That is for sure. As the Flames lose last night to the New Jersey Devils 3-2. And this point, right now, as we look at the playoffs here at this particular point, standings, we've got the Flames in a wild card spot, tied with Chicago, and 1 point behind them is Arizona, Minnesota, Nashville, Vancouver. You are now 5 points behind Los Angeles, 6 points behind the Seattle Kraken, and 12 points behind Vegas this early in the year, as Vegas and Seattle have won 5 in a row. So lots of heat again on Daryl Sutter. And last night, you play pretty well in the first half. Dennis Gilbert, I thought, showed really well, had a fight in the first period. But again, Jacob Markstrom allows a pretty bad goal to Nico Hischier, one that he wants back. And the Flames lose a game. It's not that I think you coming into the year that you expect to win. And so you come away with the loss. You had the lead at one point in the game. And so you've got just going through there. 5-on-5 continues to be a struggle. Both of the goals of Flames score in the power play. Kadri, his 7th, to Foley, his 5th. Hischier, Graves, and Hamilton score for the Devils. Devils continue to roll, and questions abound about Daryl Sutter right now. Of course, we had the situation with Jonathan Huberdeau. According to Frank Saravelli, his response to what happened to Huberdeau a couple Saturdays ago, where he has said he had to go to the bathroom, apparently hasn't sat well in that Flames dressing room. Don't know if that's true or not. But I mean, I think there's certainly some questions about what Sutter is doing in terms of deployment. Trevor Lewis was out as an extra attacker last night when the Flames needed a goal. You lose Huberdeau late. Imagine, Huberdeau was seen in a walking boot. The Flames said upper body. It could be both. Could be upper and lower body. We don't know really what's going on. And the depth of this team has been tested right now. And it wasn't tested the last few years. It's been tested now. So we're going to see where this Flames team is at this particular point. At this point. They're facing a very, very tough Boston Bruins team on Thursday. That is a situation where, if the Flames aren't careful, this could be a blowout. Markstrom struggling. Team overall is struggling at this particular point. Another night of no points from Andre Mangiapane. Another night of no 5-on-5 points for Elias Lindholm. And the other night of struggle in Calgary. There's a lot of questions going on in Calgary at this particular point. And it's not a situation where you need to panic, but it's also a situation where it does feel a little bit concerning, especially when you see Tanev down, Huberdeau out, Shillington dealing with his personal life at this point. You've got a number of injuries. Michael Stone out as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a call up today, if that's been announced or not. But there we go. But the New Jersey Devils continue to roll. They are a skilled team, an exciting team, and they're gaining a little bit of confidence every time they come out. Vitek Vanacek playing very well in goal for New Jersey. Nico Hischier starting to come into his own. Jesper Bratt gets an assist. Fabian Zetterlund got an assist. So that is what's going on there. And Flames, just something is not quite sitting right in Calgary at this particular point in time. But a couple of other things just from last night as well. The Evander Kane, pretty scary injury last night. He's been placed on injured reserve LTA. Let me clarify that. But he's out 3 to 4 months. Skate on a wrist, looked very scary. Hopefully he, I like him or not or whatever, he's on LTIR. He's going to miss 3 to 4 months. That is a very, very scary injury, and just hope that Kane is okay. The Oilers have called Matthias Janmark and Klim Kostin up, and we wish Evander the best in his recovery process. You don't want to see someone significantly injured, whether he's liked or not. I'm not that type. may not be the biggest fan of Evander Kane in terms of some of the other issues, not wishing that type of injury on anybody. And that's a significant loss for the Oilers, who did beat Tampa Bay last night. First time they won in Tampa Bay since 2009. Another good hockey game. The Oilers are struggling in the win-loss column, but at least the games that they're playing are very good. So don't know how you take that from an Oiler fan perspective, but not bad. One other note from last night, a couple of other notes I wanted to quickly talk on here. Kapil Kaprizov hit on Drew Doughty, cost him $5,000. Some might argue that should have been a suspension too. I will leave that to you if you looked at that up to see what's going on there. But he was fined. That happened in the Wild game last night. In the second period, Kaprizov was assessed a match penalty as well. And the Winnipeg Jets beat the Dallas Stars last night, and that might have been one of those under the radar games because there were so many interesting games last night. But the Winnipeg Jets are, a lot of people were wondering what the heck was going to happen with the Winnipeg Jets. They didn't make that significant splash because we have all this talk of the locker room issues, and Blake Wheeler's no longer the captain, and their big piece that they brought was basically Sam Gagner, but they are off to a tremendous start and a statement win against Dallas last night. Very impressive. Winnipeg looking really good at this point, leading the way in the Central Division here. They're on top or tied with Dallas now with 17 points. Colorado's going to get it together, but the Jets have won 3 in a row. Vegas wins 8 in a row when they beat Toronto. Seattle's won 5 in a row. The Kraken are legit, people. The Kraken are legit. And Vegas is just playing with a lot of confidence right now. So that was last night. Tonight's games, we've got 4 plus, which includes, of course, we touched on the game between the Canucks and Canadians. It's Crosby versus Ovechkin, and two teams that really that are struggling right now. The Pens did the same road trip through Western Canada that Buffalo and New Jersey did not get the same results, and they have been stumbling along. They are 4-6-2. They've lost 2 in a row. The Capitals won their last game. They're 6-6-2, but it's another Crosby versus Ovechkin night. That's always fun when those two play each other. So we've got that. We've got Carolina taking on Florida. Carolina 8-3-1 behind, now in third behind the suddenly hello, hi, how are you? My name is the New York Islanders. We've won 7 of the last 10. Another comeback over the New York Rangers in the third period. They're sitting in second. Carolina's in third. There, and then you've got that, and you got Minnesota continuing on on their California road trip, taking on the Anaheim Ducks, who are at 4-8-1 and sitting at 9 points. And here in the Pacific, Minnesota trying to, as mentioned, 1 point behind the Calgary Flames, as mentioned, for that last wild card spot. And then the other news we wanted to touch on today, we'll go into the we'll go into the WHL here, and start with the World Juniors are coming up in December, the 2023 edition of it, and the head coach is from the Everett Silvertips. It is Dennis Williams. He's from the Everett Silvertips. He will take the reins for this iteration. Brent Kissio is one of the assistant coach. Prince Albert Raiders goaltending coach Kelly Gard will be there as well as Pat's equipment manager Gord Cochran. Williams was part of the gold medal staff last time when Canada won gold in the summer. Casillo's been a coach for 8 years with the Hurricanes. Williams 6 years with the Silvertips. So they gather for their selection camp December 9th to 12th. As for other news, the Red Deer Rebels finally lost a game here. They lose to the Winnipeg Ice last night. And so that's their first loss of the year. Red Deer has been rolling. They became the number 1 ranked team in the CHL here. They lose 3-1 as Ben Zalotti, who's one of the top defensemen in the league, Matthew Savoy with the empty netter, and Bruce score. Bernie scores for Red Deer there as well. Tonight, we've got 4 games. We've got the Oil Kings, who made a trade today, sending a Shea Van Olm to Kamloops for 2024 conditional 7th round pick, taking on the Connor Bedard and the Regina Pats. We got another Rebels Ice game. We've got the Prince Albert Raiders taking on the Lethbridge Hurricanes. Got the Thunderbirds taking on the Kamloops Blazers, and the Prince George taking on Kamloops. AHL. Just touch on the Wranglers here. They beat the Barracuda last night 4-0, and so that win is good for them. Good for them. They're needing that win there. Just looking at the stats, that one here for the Wranglers. We've got Emilio Pettersson, Rory Cairns, Matthew Phillips with his 9th, and Nicholas Meloche scored for the Wranglers. Dustin Wolf made 24 saves for the shutout, and Wranglers starting to play better now. As for the games, we've got Chicago beat Milwaukee earlier 5-3. We've got games tonight. We've got making sure I got this here. Grand Rapids taking on Cleveland, Rochester taking on Syracuse, Texas taking on Colorado. Those are the games tonight. Abbotsford plays tomorrow against the Henderson Silver Knights. So that is the news for today. We'll be on tomorrow after the Flames play the Boston Bruins. Post-game podcast. Flames Bruins. Sean should join. Devin should join. We'll get that schedule together here. You can follow us all individually on Twitter. Sean Beardy Canucks 03, Devin Gordhouse 09. We'll have to talk. He spent some time at a studio today. We'll hear about that. Tyler TNOBLE, Christian Schneids SCHNEIDZ. You can all follow Fireside Chat for their podcast that comes out every Monday. You can follow me, KEVOLE, Shifts and Pucks, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. We'll talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.